You're listening to the Oneofus.net podcast network.
Oneofus.net has been your one-stop shop for all things geek for years. But there's a side to them many of you have never heard. The subscription side. Subscribe and listen to great podcasts like The Breakfast Pub, The Original Gentleman, and the Watch a Movie With Us series. Head on over to Oneofus.net and don't forget your towel.
An instruction that will be lost on me forever. Not that even if I understood and this movie was actually giving good instructions about how to do that, it wouldn't make any difference because I will never be a Latin lover by definition. Now, Frank, on the other hand, has a shot. You still have some game here.
Well, I got dumped in February, so, yeah, now you got this movie really is for me to be watching.
It's time. It's time to use the skills that you've gotten.
When I was watching, I was like, God, I hope I never end up playing like that guy. Please don't let me end up that pathetic.
I don't think you will by definition. You're not like Eugenio Derbez's character in this film, Maximo, a guy who spent his whole life determined to never work by sleeping with very old ladies to suck off their fortunes. It sounds like a good gig. George, would you do this if you had the shot? Would you be the Latin lover if it was it was going to be a slam dunk success?
The only Latin lover I could possibly be is someone who loves Latin.
True. The language or Latinas?
Yes.
I'm a Latin lover in the sense that every time I see Salma Hayek on screen, my heart beats a little faster for a second. Whew, boy.
Man, she's still Salma Hayek.
Yeah, she is a force of nature. I always think of that scene when we first met her in Desperado when she walks out into the street and cars just crash into each other and they're all yelling at her and she just smiles and keeps walking. She's still that hot. See, we love Latins.
Yeah, we do.
Latinas.
Yeah, Latinas, yeah.
As I said, the story of this movie is basically this guy, Maximo. He decided when he was young he was going to do this. He was charting that course. I'm going to be I'm going to be the handsome guy who never has to work because you suck up to really old ladies and get them to marry you so you can live off their fortune. Hopefully they die and leave you everything. Problem is, the woman that he hooked up with, it flashes 25 years later, she is still mysteriously alive. and
still active.
But, he's fine with it. He's like, okay, I don't have to do anything except occasionally have sex with this woman, which is probably difficult. But, he lives a life of obnoxious luxury, until one day she leaves him for a considerably younger guy, which is a problem considering he has kind of let himself go a bit. He's got a pot belly. His hair is starting to gray a bit. Yeah. And he thinks, that's fine. I'll get right back out there and I'm going to be a force to be reckoned with. I'm going to find another even older, even richer lady. And he just is so unaware of who he is at this point that although it's very clear to the audience, that shit ain't gonna fly.
Yeah. He's so narcissistic. He never really finished growing up, and so he's still trapped in that sort of 20-something.
So despite getting a bit of help from his best friend, played by Rob Lowe, who has a similar relationship with Linda Lavin or Lavin? I think it's Lavin, who of course is
70s.
What is the show she was on forever?
Alice,
yeah. In fact, I think isn't his phone ring the theme from that show?
No, that's Golden Girls.
Was that Golden Girls? Okay,
yeah.
Fair enough.
Thank you for being a friend. Anytime he calls.
Okay, yeah. But he can only do so much because basically he's a slave to this woman. Yeah. Quite literally at points. And he's forced to, Eugenio's character Maximo is forced to go find out his little sister Salma Hayek, who he hasn't seen in over a decade, because she has a son that he's never seen before, and beg her to let him stay with her. Well, along the course of the way, this guy who's just selfish by definition, doesn't know how to be any other way, but puts up a good front, realizes that by teaching the little boy who's in love with a girl at school how to be a Latin lover, as it were, to be cool in the sense of what he thinks is cool, he'll be able to sneak through the back door to get access to an old rich lady who is her grandmother.
Her grandmother, yeah.
Yeah, played by Raquel Welch.
Yeah. Raquel Welch.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, that is Raquel Welch.
That's Raquel Welch, because she's still alive somewhere.
And, I mean, all right, so here's the thing. This is a very generic comedy in terms of the structure. We've seen this type of thing a lot in all of its pieces.
Everything is generic.
Yeah.
Structure, writing, acting.
Yeah. There's nothing really that stands out here at all. There's nothing that's not utterly predictable or that you haven't seen a billion times before. Maybe if you've just never seen a average American comedy that's come out in the last 30 years, you'd be like, whoa, I'm gobsmacked by this.
Yeah.
But that seems unlikely.
Everybody pretty much knew it.
But
laughs throughout there was like, oh, okay, yeah.
But I felt it was heightened to some extent by the fact I think Eugenio Derbez is a hell of a performer. I think he's very charismatic, and he never lets his character overwhelm being feeling like he could be a real person, like a lot of other actors who do these kind of movies more often than not do. Right. He's not Adam Sandlering this thing.
No, he's got a good handle on his energy, and he knows how to rein it in when he needs to, and yeah, he doesn't overwhelm and he doesn't overstay his welcome from scene to scene.
And for a pretty despicable character starting out, he does kind of sell the redemption aspect that most comedies have. He does it well. And for a formulaic comedy, it's all about plugging somebody you like into the form. And if you like that person well enough, he's good enough to carry the movie. And I think that if you're at all predisposed to like this actor, then you will enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
Whether or not you should go pay to see it or whether or not you should just, check it out on cable someday,
Right.
He's also smart enough, I think, to because this guy is very vain, very narcissistic, very, very, self-adoring, but, he makes him so goofy and just, such a buffoon that, you can't help but forget that and, accept that.
At some level, it's like he has literally been sheltered his whole life. Sure, sheltered in, the lap of utter luxury, but nonetheless, no idea how the real world works or how people are supposed to relate to each other.
Yeah.
And I think they do a better job here than they do in most comedies that are about an utterly reprehensible human being who slowly has to regain their humanity, of which there's 1,000. I think he does a better job than most of those actors playing those roles in those comedies of playing that role. He is, even though it takes a while before the movie actually finally gets to the turn where he's you believe that he actually wants to be a better person. Like I said, he's just fun to watch. His mistakes are, there's one thing they do with black shoe polish that is a genuinely funny bit in the film. I was like, that would have worked no matter what. But even though, as I'm watching these jokes, not completely fall flat on their face, but just be very familiar, very repetitive. I'm still he brings a certain charm to it that maybe we haven't seen before.
Maybe, and I don't think I think it would have been a much more dire experience had this been an Adam Sandler movie. I could have totally seen this being an Adam Sandler movie. For the script, it's so easily you could have plugged Sandler into this, and it would have been really offensive for one thing.
But they're kind of counting on that.
But, true. The only two jokes I really, really liked were probably the most offensive ones in the entire film. Though it was the opening one where a character just explodes in a truck, and
I don't know if that's offensive.
I don't know. Well, it was kind of dark, at least. I thought,
it was a little dark.
If it stays in this vein, we're in for a good time, but it didn't. So sadly, and when a pair of prosthetic arms get pulled out, which I thought was great. But for the most part, they do play it safe. It's such a shame though, because he's got so much energy.
Well, there's a few other places where they don't play it safe, such as the wheelchair guy.
Yeah,
the wheelchair guy. Yeah.
The wheelchair, the reoccurring wheelchair gag.
I think the reason I think if they went too far in that direction, then it would have been difficult to make the family stuff work. And for me, especially in the beginning, where you have the siblings as younger characters. And then versus as older, you actually feel a bond between them. And if the family stuff didn't really work, then this whole movie would fall apart.
I think that's a lot because of Salma Hayek. I think she keeps it so grounded in some kind of, as much of a reality as you can ground this movie in. Yeah,
the dialogue between the brother and sister at the very beginning is really charming. And I thought that maybe if they could keep it that charming, the whole movie would be great. And instead, that aspect of it is really good. And I think it makes the rest of the movie work because, yes, Salma Hayek and Eugenio do work really well. So,
have I been saying his name wrong this entire time?
How did you say it? I can't
Is it Eugenio? I don't know.
it's Eugenio.
Oh, Eugenio?
Eugenio, yeah.
Boy, I am
sorry,
the whitest person on the planet.
I'm Hispanic. I didn't
only slightly more
make that
white.
mistake. I think you make
well,
that mistake,
okay, Donald Trump's more white than me, but still.
more orange than you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's more of a Cheeto. I did also thought the supporting cast was okay. Underused when they should have had more of them.
Underused.
Rob Lowe is playing a perfect Rob Lowe type character.
Rob Lowe's great, but the two other Robs, are horrible.
Yeah.
No, they're great. I thought they were funny.
Every scene they were in was so
Rob Riggle
funny.
and Rob Hubel playing two guys who run a company who he essentially takes for some money, and they're like trying to be tough and like threaten him, and they're just terrible at it.
I like because they were just doing them, which is great, as opposed to someone like Kristen Bell, who's just solid with such a horrendous character and nothing funny about her whatsoever.
Well, except that every time you see her, you get to see a lot of cats, and I'm all for that.
You see her in a lot of like bandaged up.
I disliked her inside the yogurt shop. I loved her in her apartment. To the end, I really enjoyed her towards the end because she was a lot more like vulnerable and that sort of thing in her apartment. And once she made it clear that no, I'm not attracted to you, that she became a better character to me, and I really enjoyed her scenes. But yeah, the two Robs running the shop.
She's the one who
I like them. Normally, I don't like them here.
I wasn't crazy about them here either. Although I will say Riggle is playing it so much more down than he usually does.
Oh, yeah.
Riggle's another one of those comedic actor
here.
that always is playing stuff just a little bit too much over the top compared to everybody else. And here, like, it's clear he's been pulled in. It's interesting because this is directed by Ken Marino.
Yeah, how do you think he's fared as a director?
I mean, he's a comic actor who's worked with all these guys multiple times on things. Strangely, if he had a cameo in here, I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either.
Yeah, you would think he would have appeared in this.
Yeah, he's directed a lot of television. He hasn't had a feature. In fact, this whole thing feels like it's a script that he was attached to probably to star like 15 years ago.
Sure.
This feels like something that's been in a drawer, and then it's just like, well, hey, here's a chance to get it made. And they rewrote it, and for the better, probably.
Well, and I suspect that Eugenio,
Eugenio
is who is a huge star in Mexico, like has been doing movies and TV shows for a while now, slowly trying to edge his way into the American film industry.
Yeah, you've seen him make a lot of cameos in American movies, but not quite have a starring role. But, Instructions Not Included was such a hit here that he finally has a potential crossover opportunity.
Lionsgate is teamed up with another with a Mexican studio, Pantaleon? It's not Pantaleon, I know that.
Pantaleon?
Yeah.
Pantaleon
Lion
Films.
Pants.
And the production company, 3PAS.
Which is a joke on tripas.
Yes, which is like...
I don't know what
it's a pun.
It's intestines.
Yeah, tripas are intestines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm only good.
That's a weird...
No, I got it. But I've had tripas in breakfast tacos before, which are awful.
I hate tripas. They're so rubbery.
Yeah,
just like,
exactly. It was like, why do people like this?
You can tell we live in Texas because anywhere else people are like, you eat what in tacos?
Yeah, exactly.
That is not
lengua, which is tongue. Tripas, which is intestines.
The rest of the world, breakfast tacos are an alien thing.
That still freaks me out. Can you believe? Yeah. I mean, I feel like we should do some sort of charity for the rest of the world. Just to bring them breakfast tacos.
Anytime I visit somebody somewhere else, I make them breakfast tacos. Like, I'm white, so these aren't official, but they're breakfast tacos.
That's such a great gesture. That's really,
just in general.
Awesome. It's really easy to make.
Anytime anyone I know comes down here who doesn't live here, the first thing they want is tacos of some kind. What do you want to eat? Tacos. Yeah. But you've yet no tacos. We could go see tacos. And then what do they want? Like when they get hungry again? Tacos.
Yeah.
It's like, we have barbecue too. Ooh, I forgot about that. And then it's just barbecue.
You can also have barbecue tacos.
That's true, and they're pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
How in the hell did we get so far off topic? Anyway,
I'm hungry now. So
I know, me too.
And I went pescatarian for Lent, so I can't even have barbecue.
I mean, I think this is actually for Ken Marino, and partially because, like I said, he never allows things to get so heightened that they become absolutely, unbelievably absurd, but they're kind of just at the level they should be. If there had been a funnier script, this would have been a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
As it is, I think it's just kind of an average movie.
It is
it's very run-of-the-mill, like I said, heightened at best by the fact that, once again, Marino shows some promise as a director, and Eugenio Derbez is looking like he might be moving into a more prominent role for, your average English-speaking audiences here.
I think with the right script, he's clearly a star. Like he can be, and I think with the right material. But if you already know you like him, if you're already on board with him, you will enjoy this movie, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go into your final thoughts, George.
My final thoughts, like I said, if you're predisposed to like him, definitely, you will enjoy this movie. it'll probably raise it from pretty good to good.
Yeah.
I would say that I would rate this maybe 6 out of 10 ill-advised cameos.
How about you, Frank?
Well, it's funny. For me, it's the performers are the ones that are going to sell this more, almost as much as the jokes are, and it's very split down the middle for me in that department alone. Because for half the cast had so much great stuff to do, half of them didn't. I think this is Kristen Bell's worst moment on screen.
Oh, I don't know, man. There's some hard competition for that.
Well, I haven't seen all.
You seen the movie she was in that Dax Shepard directed and co-starred with her in?
That's her husband.
No. Well, I haven't seen Chips. She did one beforehand.
Oh, that hit.
Well, I don't think he directed Chips.
I thought
he did.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
He did.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't see it then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. I had to be
talking
nice. I had to do an interview with both of them after that earlier movie they did, and I had to try to be nice to the movie, which was not worth being nice to at
Bradley
all.
Cooper and dreadlocks.
I think so. I can't remember. It's been a while since I saw it, and it's super forgettable. Yeah. That being said, they were both pretty charming, even though I kept going, why are you with this frat boy? Anyway, sorry. Continue.
She's a big Idiocracy fan.
Yeah.
But didn't like her. I thought, Rob Riggle was real. I mean, not Rob Riggle. Where is that? Cordry.
Yeah.
Rob Cordry was really the most underused I've ever seen him. But I love the Robs. I love the two of them. I love their scenes and their energy. I thought it sold. And I also love that people like Rob Lowe and Raquel Welch were making fun of their own sort of images by he's the aging pretty boy and she's just not taking herself seriously at all. That I don't know. It worked on some levels for me, based on the performances alone. The two leads are really great, and they do have some great chemistry together. And this movie does give off some genuine pathos. So it's enjoyable enough, and it's not as disaster-ridden as it could have been. It could have been a little bit edgier with the comedy, but that just comes down to personal taste. So I think overall, I'd probably give it about 6.5 prosthetic limbs out of 10.
Man, we sure are damning it with faint praise. And honestly, it earns that to some degree. I mean, it best deserves faint praise. It more shows promise for stuff to come with some of the people involved here. Of wow, once I get American studio gets a little more confidence in this lead, I could see him being great in something. Mm-hmm. I mean, that being said, here I am, English-speaking white boy, never watched any of his huge Mexican film hits. So maybe I'm sure some of those are great. Mm-hmm. I've just never seen them.
Yeah.
Oh, were you going to say something, George?
Well, and they do have his next project lined up. He's doing a remake of Overboard with Anna Faris, but the roles are reversed, and that does sound promising.
That does sound interesting.
If the script is good, but obviously so far his formula is working with kids, and I do think the kid in this movie is great.
Yeah, he has a strong relationship with him. He has a strong relationship with Salma Hayek. The heart of the movie is those guys. It's when it's at its best, especially when the two, Salma Hayek and Eugenio, his characters, are getting along. You really want them to get along. Yeah. You want him to be reformed for real. And so you're like, this is great. Get back into your family. And those, it lets the audience actually connect with these characters, and that saves from a lot of otherwise mediocre comedy. I give this a 5 out of 10 barbecue tacos, which I realize were not in this film, but now that you said it, I just can't stop.
Let's say they ate them at the craft service table.
Sure, we don't know. They could have.
At the Q&A, Salma Hayek, they revealed that Salma Hayek actually paid to bring Mexican food onto the set because there wasn't enough Mexican influence to her.
Good for her. Wait, was she there?
No, she wasn't.
Okay, because I missed the Q&A. I was about to go, fuck, I missed Salma Hayek.
She wasn't, but Eugenio was.
Okay, fair enough.